stoner mind.
Alright, so here we are. Check that out, that looks kind of funky. This is OBS recording Premiere Pro, and I'm using Premiere Pro to edit this gaming video. I'm just using Premiere Pro because it's quicker to edit with. Well, for me it is, I'm just really used to it. So what I'm going to do, I'm 10 minutes into editing this, and I thought I'd make this video to show you how I edit. Now, what I'm using here is the wheel mouse. The mouse on the wheel goes round and round. That moves this timeline like this, as you can see. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to let this play. As you can see, my computer name here is Stoner. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to let this play. By the way, this game right here is Mud Runner, and I'm playing this on my second channel, just in case you want to know. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to let this play. So I'm going to let this play and try not to talk over myself. And I'll edit this the way I usually edit. And I'm editing this in Premiere Pro because it's quicker to edit with for me, because I know all the controls, etc. I almost know it like the back of my hand. Whoa, what's that on the back of my hand? Bad joke! Right, anyway, so I'll let this play and I'll edit this as I'm going along, and I'll tell you what I'm doing. So first things first is you'll probably need to set some keyboard shortcuts or change a few keys and stuff. So one of the keys I'm using right here is Q, which, can you see what that's done? If we go to where I want to edit the video at, say I want to cut all this section out right here, I press Q, and it cuts it, but also takes this all the way to the side. Now, the way you would customize your keyboard is by pressing Ctrl-Alt-K or going down here in the menu. Now, this right here allows you to customize the keyboard, so these two, for example, are two keys that I have customized. So if I press F11, it will automatically unlink the video from the audio. And if I press F12, if I say have two recordings of a audio track, I can synchronize them by pressing F12, rather than going like this, right clicking, and then synchronize. Where's synchronize? I don't even know where it is. There it is. So yeah, rather than doing that, you just press F12. So if I go here and press F11, it's unlinked these two audio tracks. And if I highlight them again and I press F11, it's linked them. So rather than going like this and then doing this, it saves a lot of time. Although it's not much time. But when you're editing, say, you know, a really long video, I don't know how long this is. Yeah, I played this for a long time. Haha, check that out. It's an hour and nearly 2 hours. Now, I think the actual length of this video is about 2.5 hours long. I'm not too sure. I've got the file here somewhere I can check. So, this is it. 41 gigabytes. And it is 2 hours and 28 minutes. Yeah, 2.5 hours. Doesn't really take me too long to edit something like this, maybe a couple of hours, and I usually just fly through it using these keyboard shortcuts that I've customized. Now, I'm not too sure if this is going to help you. Maybe it will. Maybe you don't even use Premiere Pro. Maybe you use another program. The same applies for DaVinci, so I'm pretty sure that the same would apply for other video editors. So Q right here, which is what I press, is ripple trim previous edit to playhead. And then I press W to go in the opposite direction, and that is ripple trim next edit to playhead. Now obviously it's not just Q, W, F11 and F12 that I've customized. So let's say I go to around here and I want to cut this timeline right there. What I do is press D. Now what D is add edit. So that's an edit. Alright, so you'll be able to hear this. As I'm moving the playhead, there's a bit of audio that's playing. And if I press Shift and S, that will stop that from happening. Shift and S. This section right here, I actually want to bring back, so I press B, and that allows me to do this. Back here on the keyboard shortcuts panel, if I press Shift, that shows other options I have. So another one I use is Shift and X. That is ripple delete. Let's say I want to cut this section out right here. So what I'll do is I'll make a cut right there. And then if I select this and I press Shift and X, that'll delete that and bring this back. Also, I've got autosave on, as you saw just then. I think it's set to do it every 3 minutes. Alright, so now I'll just go through this as I would. That bit's a bit of a yawn fest, cut that out, press W, and go to around here, press Q, and then press D there. That way, when I press Q, it'll take it back to here and won't delete the entire thing. So I don't know how many of you play computer games, but when you play games, you're so used to the controls that you can do them without even thinking. Basically, the same applies to video editing. You become so used to the keyboard shortcuts that you can fly through an edit about 3 hours long without breaking a sweat. Now this right here as well is just a bit of a spur of the moment sort of a video, so I wasn't really going to set out to make a how do I edit videos video, but here we are doing this. So now what I want to do is I could just fly through this and sort of speed it up so that you can watch, but that might be a little boring. I don't know if you'd want to watch that. Let's say you want to add a bit more saturation to this. There we go, there's some more saturation. People like to saturate gaming videos for some reason, but yeah, anyway, that's how you do that. Also, if you wanted to, you could animate that. So let's say you want it to start off the way it is. Let's say start this part of the clip right here the way it normally is, saturation wise. Once you make an adjustment to the saturation in Premiere Pro, it appears over here in the basic correction section. You go down here to the saturation bit right there. So what you do is you click this stopwatch. I think that's what it's called, a stopwatch, a timer type, this clock icon. So let's say we want to start off the video like normal, the color is like normal, and then we get to around here, and then whilst I'm talking, the saturation is going to bump up. So what we'll do is, I go to there, I will add a keyframe right there. So from here to there, or from there to here, the saturation will be like normal, but around here is where the saturation will be bumped right to the top. So what we'll do now is we'll turn this up all the way to 300, and that will add an automatic keyframe where this playhead is. So if I zoom in on this, that is where the playhead is right now, right there. Okay, so this right here is the first keyframe. This is where the saturation starts to increase, and this is the end of the increasing of the saturation. I guess this is what makes the game fun. Taking a random route like this and just going with it. Yes, an increase in saturation makes the game fun. Right, but we want to keep the saturation like normal because we are normal. So I'm going to delete those, Control and X, and I'll just disable that because we don't need it. What else? As you can see, the autosave feature is on, and it's set to every 3 minutes. I think I said that already. Okay, so what I'll do is maybe name this video Video Editing Essentials, maybe something like that. Things you need to do whilst editing video. Maybe? Not too sure what to name this video. Anyway, the other thing I would do is go to audio, and as you can see here, I have a multi-band compressor, and I've got a parametric equalizer. And what they do is, this right here is on my vocals, so I've adjusted the bass and increased the treble, increased the bass as well, and I've got a slight bump here for some reason. If I disable that, this is what I sound like. So what I'll do is I'll go to this part right here and I'll play that. Maybe I'll be able to travel through this, I'm not too sure. What are these red bits? Maybe it's too deep. And then I'll enable it. Maybe I'll be able to travel through this, I'm not too sure. What are these red bits? Maybe it's too deep. Now, a lot of YouTubers missed this out. They don't even adjust their vocals for some odd reason. I've seen sort of documentaries made by YouTubers, and there's a bunch of distortion in there and stuff, which is so weird. Now this right here, the multi-band compressor, is something else a lot of people don't use, and they should. So basically what this does is it compresses the audio, and what I have here is a brick wall limiter that stops distortion, which a lot of big YouTubers don't use, and they should. This is also something that's available in other video editors, other decent video editors. DaVinci Resolve also has its own version of this. So I have a margin set for -0.5 dB and a threshold of -8. That's where the compression begins, -8. This is where the limiter is set to, and that's the attack and release. I don't think you'll really want to know what the attack and release do. I'm not going to get too into those because I might complicate things for you beginners. It's surprising to me that a lot of YouTubers miss out on these things. I even have one on the master right here, so that is set to -0.2. So what we're going to do now is go back to this, and I've got this to edit, so that's what I'm doing. And I'm not too sure how much of this I'm going to keep in, but we'll see how it goes. 2.5 hours this took to film. Well, that didn't take too long. I mean, well, you know, playing games never takes too long, does it? Okay, so something else. Let's show you how to zoom in. So this is how I do my zooms. I'm gonna make a cut there. I press D. Fireworks coming out of his ass. So what I've done is I've just muted the audio and I'm just gonna zoom in on these sparks right there. So what I'll do is I'll select that and that will bring this up. I go to the scale and position. We will start at the beginning and then we'll go to around 6 frames in. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, roughly. And then just zoom in like that. Then we see the sparks and then I'll make another cut there, highlight that, and then I'll get rid of this, turn that off. And then what happens is we get a zoom. That was quite fast, so what I might do is just space the time out. And then what happens is we get a zoom, but that was quite fast actually. So what I'll do is just zoom into this a little bit and we'll get these keyframes and spread them out a little. Like that. And wrong one, that one. Now what you can do to this is select these keyframes right there, right click, and then ease out. And that will make the zoom a little smoother. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to select these, and then what I'll do is ease in, and that'll make it even smoother. So that's how I do my zooms. And I'm pretty sure a lot of big YouTubers do this the same way because I've seen their zooms and I know how it's done. Alright, so I'll go to around here because I'm not even talking. And I press D, Shift and X, that'll get rid of that. And then what I'll do is I'll add another zoom right there. I'll cut this bit and I want to zoom into that. Just a quick zoom and then zoom back out. So I'm just going to highlight that, take that to the end, go like this. Then I'll zoom into that like this. Control and C on this, take it to there, Control and V, then Control and C on those, and then Control and V. So that is a quick one right there, you see that? And then what I'll do is ease out, ease in, ease out, and ease in. Okay, so this is how that's going to look. Let's put these a little closer together. Now we'll see how this looks. Yay! And once again I'll make a cut here. People call them edits, but I like to call them cuts because an edit is a whole bunch of things, but a cut is a cut. And then this entire section to around here is going to get chopped off. And then to around there, chop. Okay, so this part of the audio right here, I'm going to cut out. And because they're linked, as you can see, if I select one, it's going to select all 3 of these. So that's 2 audio tracks and 1 video track. So the way I'm going to select just the audio track, the one that I want to cut out, which is me, sort of saying a word, but not quite. I'm going to just go over to here first of all. I'm going to press D to make a cut right there. And then when I press Alt, I'll keep hold of Alt, and then with the left mouse button, I'll select and drag, and that will just select this rather than all 3, or you know, me having to unlink all these tracks. So that saves a bit of time there, and then Control and X will get rid of that. I mean, when you watch this video, it's going to be as though I'm talking, but you know, as you can see, I'm obviously skipping out tons of video because I'm not even talking. I don't really make gaming videos. I used to, but I never used to talk in them. I used to play GTA, which I might download for the PC again because I quite like it. Wondering when GTA 6 is coming out, probably 2020 sometime, 2021 maybe even. So yeah, anyway, I'll just carry on with this. If there's anything else that pops up, I will let you know. Actually, whilst we're talking about the Alt button, I can press Alt and I can drag either one of these tracks like this without having to unlink them. So the Alt button is quite handy. And once you make your adjustments, the tracks are still linked. Also, what you can do with the Alt button is if I want to say duplicate this track right there. So what I'll do is I'll press D, that'll slice that. And then if I press Alt and I drag this, I can put this somewhere else like that, and it's duplicated it. Now keep this in mind, like I've made that duplication right there, this one right here is going to have adjustments on this track right here, A2, which is this. Now this right here is not going to have those adjustments on them because this is on a completely different track. But if you were to make the adjustments to this audio file itself, and then you duplicate it, those adjustments you've made to the original will also be on the duplicate. Also, by the way, if you're using Premiere Pro to edit and you want to say bleep out any swear words and stuff, what you can do is right click on here then go to new item, and then head over to HD bars and tone. And what that does is it creates some HD bars and tone. And then what you do is go to source, drag this into there, and then what I do is right click using the arrow keys, let's say about 3 times, and then press O on the keyboard to add an out point, or you can press this. This one right here creates an in point. You drag that out of there and into there. You see that? So that's how you do these bars and tones. Now, you can do this in Premiere Pro, but I've tried doing this in DaVinci Resolve and it only brings the bars, the tone isn't there. Either way, DaVinci Resolve and Premiere Pro both have their pros and cons. And personally, I can do pretty much the same thing in Resolve that I can do in Premiere Pro, but there's a few issues with Resolve, so I prefer using Premiere, but you know, like I said. So yeah, that's about all for this video. If there's anything else you want to know about Premiere Pro, maybe even Photoshop or FL Studio, not too sure what else, Google Chrome? No, let's leave Google Chrome out of this. Let me know in the comment section below and I'll try to help you out. So yeah, for now, have a good rest of your day, or if you're feeling funny, have a bad one.